Welcome to Outlier on Air. Today we are in San Francisco in Uptown, North Beach with Hasan Mirjan. Thank you so much for welcoming us to your co-working space.
Thank you.
So we were at SpherePad co-working space right now, right?
Right.
And you are also the founder of SpearMe.
Very true.
So we can't wait to dig into that. But first, we would like to understand who you are, where you come from as an entrepreneur. So tell us a little bit about how you came to San Francisco and open these two businesses.
Well, the story goes back I'd say 25 years or so when I started. I come from a family who are all entrepreneurs, my father, my uncles, so I grew up in that environment. My first business was a chicken farm, so it's got no relationship with technology.
Really? And where was this?
That was in Iraq, in Baghdad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was in the 80s.
Wow.
I'd say 1987. Okay. After that, the chicken business didn't really fly. So,
okay.
so what we did, I opened up a stationery store, and that worked well, but due to circumstances there, had to leave the country. But the whole entrepreneurship is always in my blood. I believe it is something that people say, yes, you can teach it. I find it maybe if you have the stomach for it and you're able to sustain that long hardship, because at the end of the day, you're always going to be, going to make it, no matter what, as long as you believe in it, no matter what it is. So after that, I traveled in many countries, lived in Canada for a while, then came to the U.S. Came to the U.S. It was a job, so I, worked for a company in the tech industry, but always wanted to go back in this business thing. And finally, where I got residency in the country, and I said, okay, that's it, I quit. Yeah, I got this in my hand, and I didn't want to stay.
That facilitated.
Yeah, absolutely, because we couldn't do. You were here just for the purpose of working in the country. Okay. You cannot start a business.
Gotcha.
So once I got that, then I completely quit. I started one company. It was Capture. It was called Capture.com. It was related to artists, photographers, event planners. Mm-hmm. Put them together, and we're kind of a medium website where it hooks these people together. Mm-hmm. And we take kind of a fee where you can sell the photos and do all these things. That didn't work. It failed miserably. That was in Southern California, so I decided, let me just move to Northern California, San Francisco, and see what I can do. Looking at an article, found this in the co-working thing in the paper, and decided, oh wow, yeah, this is something that maybe I could pull through.
Wow.
Back in 2010, I started this, and I came to North Beach, which is a lot of people were betting that this is not going to work.
And it's here, SpherePad.
SpherePad.
Okay.
The reason why, and I somewhat kind of, in my guts, thought it may not, but I just stayed with it.
So why SpherePad? Why a co-working space?
Why? It's the community, it's the people you meet, it's the connections that you make. Believe it or not, through that I have met programmers where I will get to SphereMe, how it all started. Mm-hmm. But I met programmers, network with attorneys. Now I can get you a whole team of attorneys, anything you want. I can literally bring them on a table and create a whole, whatever thing.
It's amazing the network that comes with running a co-working space. It complements your business.
Yeah,
really well.
Co-working is not about throwing a desk and rent that desk.
And it's not about high revenue, right? It's not huge high revenue.
No, it's not a huge high revenue. The margin is small. The smaller the space, the harder it gets. I'd say you want to start a co-working space, great, go for it, but don't expect to make a huge amount of money unless you have another stream of revenue. Okay.
Which I'm going to get to.
I'm going to get to this.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a compliment.
Okay.
And so why the bigger the space works better? Because if you decide you want to hire employees to help you, this way, you can spread that cost among what? 2,000 square feet or 10,000 square feet for two people, or two people using only two. So the expense, because you have only the walls You cannot go beyond the walls. So doing that, I decided, okay, this is, some people maybe they were right. I'm in North Beach and everybody is going to south of Market. All these co-working spaces are starting there just because of the events that happens there, all the happening. But what I wanted to do is something different, because if I go there, I'll be like everybody else.
Right. So really serving the local
exactly.
community right here on this block, basically. You've got your coworkers living very close.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do is serve the neighborhood more or less, and become a niche market that we're serving in that area.
So do you mind me asking you the price range of this space here?
Where the price range
as far as
how much
being a coworker to come in and rent a desk here? Or
it's not that expensive comparing to the whole market in San Francisco.
Sure.
For example, if you can drop in for the day for $18, work a whole day.
Okay.
If you
That's
have
less than parking, actually.
Oh yes, I mean absolutely $25 downtown.
Yeah.
Easy, you pay that. Another thing is, if you rent a whole desk, 24/7 access monthly, it's $450.
Okay.
But we don't limit you on the conference room hours.
That's great.
We said, let's open this up. I don't want a nickel and dime, because some people are using the conference room and some are don't. So that kind of balances each other out. I said, okay, that kind of like cancel each other. So let's do that. It's easier to ballpark things and wholesale rather than retail. Okay. So up your prices, you get one customer at a high price, or you want to have a bunch of people at a lower price, but again, it creates the buzz.
Sure.
Yeah.
So tell me, I'd like to dig into SphereMe a little bit. We talked about in the pre-interview how it has enabled some of these
spaces.
Some of these startups here to grow.
So I'm a living example. So SphereMe, it started, it's exactly how it happened. The space wasn't bringing any people here. It was difficult to, so I said, okay, well, what is another stream of revenue that I could do? Mail. So people want to use the address as just a mailing address, but at the same time, offer them a day or two where they can work here. Okay. So we give them the address, and you also get with the address 2 days pass for $45 or $50 a month.
Okay. So SphereMe is like a software that enables all that?
It's an application. Okay. It's a white label application. We just give the co-working space a link, and we set up, we take care of the payment processor, automatically enable those mailing addresses, suite numbers for each location. Okay. So we handle all these things, plus the notification system between the space and the customers. So we say, okay, we don't want to handle the mail ourselves. Let's enable the co-working space. They will control that. They would price it at whatever price they want. We do not even touch that. So if they don't bring any revenue, we do not take anything.
Okay, so do you take a percentage?
We're a percentage.
Like a flat monthly?
Not a flat monthly fee. It's all free because we know it will work.
Okay. Any implementation costs, or is it just SaaS, sign up and go?
10%. That's all we take. That includes even the payment processor. We, like I said, wholesale. I always think wholesale. I always think like on a scaling, imagine you're having 2,000 spaces you're serving. At that 10%, it will be okay.
Great.
So that's where SpherePad made it. Okay. Is when I created that and I had the capture software, I thought, okay, I built SpherePad's website in the beginning through using capture's software, and then created the mail as part of it. And I thought, okay, let's chop it up, make it a separate company, and make it available to other spaces. Why not? Because it worked for us. So
how many years has SphereMe been available?
Oh, 2.5.
2.5.
2.5 years completely bootstrapped.
Co-working spaces do you have? Do you know? Off the top of your head?
We have quite a bit. We're just now. We're available now in the UK, 2 locations, one in Australia and one in France.
Okay.
We just launched Europe and Australia, which we're excited. We accept currencies in any currency people want to pay with. Yeah. And we go back and pay the co-working spaces the end of the month.
So I've got to ask you I want to dig a little bit more into your personal story because I mean we touched on it just in the beginning. But we've got to ask a little bit more. I mean, you know, something that's really fascinating to me is when I talk to immigrants who come over here, and honestly, people who are immigrating to the United States make some of the best, grittiest entrepreneurs, you know.
Thank you.
And we have a conference coming up that's all about grit. The entire conference is about grit, and people are traveling into Zion where we are just to, you know, escape, just to kind of focus on that very aspect is the staying power. And so it takes a lot to, you know, grow up in a country like Iraq and then end up here. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that and maybe some of the struggles along the way that you encountered.
Well, yeah, I mean, I tell you, I mean, one of the struggles were when I came to the U.S., which was the first time, like completely, I mean, residing in 2000. That's when, during the dot-com boom, and I came through that. My struggle was throughout the 10 years? Yeah, probably, almost 9 years. 9 years, I wanted to leave that job and create my own business.
And this was the job in the U.S. that
in the U.S., yeah, here in San Francisco, actually.
Okay.
To start my own business and hire people. Like, why can't I do that? You cannot do that because, you know, the status doesn't let you.
Right.
So I stayed the course, did not want to quit until it happened.
How many years was that?
9 years it took.
Wow, oh, you said that.
But 9 years I'm waiting when this is going to happen.
And how old
I really
were you
believed it will happen. I'm sorry?
How old were you when you started that job? And then
so you're talking, until I'm 40.
So you were well into your career. I mean, it's not like you were in your 20s.
But, exactly. But I will say that it also, I have to give that a credit also because it did help me learn about corporate, about management, about few skills, that learning how all things work as far as human management, people management, human resources, things like that. So it did help, but it was long.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest failure that you've been through that you've just climbed out of to this spot that you're in now? I mean, you've got this great co-working space, a profitable business, it's wonderful, and you have such a great story. What's that main struggle?
The biggest failure is, like I said, one of them is the business I started back in Southern California, which was in between 2007 and 2009. I started in 2007, but I know I can't do anything with it until 2009. So 2009 came, I'm ready to launch, I ran out of money. So I lost quite a bit of money. The other thing is the business that was in Iraq at the time, I was young, but I had to shut down everything. So that was, I don't know if you would want to call it a failure, because a failure is a failure when you fail and you don't get up again.
Right.
That's a complete fail.
Yeah.
That's always an experience.
Yes.
Yeah, always an experience. So yes, I would call it as a setback.
Okay.
It's a setback. Definitely a setback. The most I learned from is from my successes. I'd say this is the most you would learn from, not from your failure. Because once you fail, how are you going to learn if you're not successful?
Right.
Because you don't go through the same experiences.
Right. Tell me a little bit about your experience growing up in Iraq and the differences. For one thing, the differences, I mean, I know that the culture, and I'm sure the business culture is very different, but what did you experience when you made that transition? And
actually, I wouldn't say it's a whole lot of difference.
Really?
The only difference is people negotiate. Everything is negotiable. Everything. There's nothing is not negotiable.
Was it hard to start a business in Iraq? I mean,
no.
Really?
No, it's actually way easier than here, I have to say. In general, not only Iraq, I say if you go to Turkey, you go to even Greece, Jordan, all these countries, it gets a bit easier because I'd say a lot of people of them are entrepreneurs because if you're an employee, as an employee, you don't get paid well. So you have no choice but to be an entrepreneur.
Great point.
Yeah, so going back to the experiences and the differences are, I negotiate. I mean, anything I do, and one thing I will say, if someone wants to negotiate with you, don't take it personally.
Give us some tips.
Don't take it personally.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
Because if you do take it personally, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything is about business, about your bottom line, and that's how I do business.
Thick skin.
Absolutely.
And grit.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
Definitely.
So, what advice do you have for specifically entrepreneurs who are immigrating or have immigrated into the US and they have this entrepreneurial dream. There's a lot of struggle along the way. It's not just the business, it's also, like you said, the process of getting the proper paperwork in place so you can start a business.
Yeah.
I mean, leaving whatever life is, you know, in that previous country where that you know. What is some advice you can give?
Right, I think the barrier would be the language, I guess. But
Okay.
where I grew up was English. You know, since you know, at age 4 we started learning English, so education was really good at the time, and all that. And I traveled through the years growing up between the UK and even California. I mean, the language barrier is definitely different. They need to learn the system and knowing how the system works here. Yeah. Before they sell, but most of them I've seen businesses here. People don't even speak really any English, and they're running a business, which I find it difficult. Well, depending what type, you know, you can open up a convenience store, probably can go buy.
Right.
But if you want to start on a large scale business, I don't know if that would be as easy.
Sure.
As easy. I guess my advice to everyone, not only immigrants, I think just stick with it. Stick with it. It's gut wrenching. It's tough. It's hard. It throws you up and down. I don't know. It is tough.
Why is it worth it? From your experience, from where you're sitting, why is it all worth it?
For me, I can speak only for myself. Is I like building stuff. I don't know what it is. I don't have. If people say, okay, do what you like. What I like is building things, whether it's a business or even building a cabinet. I like building stuff and be responsible of things. So I find, you know, my employees, for example, this is something I take pride of. Okay. We have this unlimited vacation now that I'm doing, which is I'm venturing. I don't know how it's going to work, and I tried it, and it's working really well.
Tell me about that.
They take unlimited untracked vacation. You want to take off, take off. You're 2 months in the job. You want to go for a week, go for a week. As long as you get the work done, why do I have to sit and say how many hours you put in?
Sure.
It just doesn't make sense.
Right, sure, I get that. So I'm interested, you know, we're traveling here from Utah, obviously. We're based in Utah, which Utah has a great tech scene, a great entrepreneurial scene in its own right. But San Francisco, I mean, is really a world hub for entrepreneurship, for startups, of course, for very recognizable tech companies. You know, I'd like to know what your perspective, being here in the area, is on what is the advantage to being here in San Francisco to your business and to your way of life?
I think the advantage is access to startups, depending on what market you're targeting. For us as a co-working, we maybe want to target techies, tech companies, access to money. That's the advantages that we have.
Access to money is
Access to money. People want to come where the money is available.
There's a lot of funding here.
Absolutely. No, but if you're a bootstrapper and you really want to go on your own, you can be anywhere. As long as you know what your market is and who you're targeting. Yeah. You can create a market out of thin air, literally. But I would say access to money, if you want to go fast and really take that ride, sure.
Is there still room? Do you encourage people to come here for that purpose?
I think there is always. There's still people are coming. And based on our experience, we opened this space. It's been 2 months and we're almost full.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
Yes, it is. But I wouldn't take that as for granted, because there's always, you have to keep in mind there will be a downturn, so be prepared.
Sure. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the network of co-working spaces.
Yes.
So those who are interested in working out of a co-working space, and then those who are interested in opening a co-working space, I just want them to know what the options are, because the more co-working spaces we talk to, the more I figure out that there's a whole network out there.
Absolutely.
Where you help each other. You know, we were in LA a while ago, and you know our friend Jerome well.
Oh yeah, great guy.
So where do we tap into that co-working space network? What's available?
There's a co-working wiki. You can go online. There's a lot of resources, and us as co-working space owners, we'd love to help anyone who's starting up. We all work with each other. We all know each other. Almost, I wouldn't say all 100%, but we know, because there is this conference that happens everywhere, every year, and just the nature of the business and the culture around co-working is we support each other, because we know we're in it together to help the community. That's the main goal.
You know, I think that's a big asset
Absolutely.
to co-working spaces.
Yes.
You really become a hub. You know a lot about what's going on in your own community that the
Right.
startup that's in your co-working space may not know, and you can be a connector. And that's very gratifying, don't you think, to help a startup to succeed?
Yeah, when you see a company come to your space and all of a sudden they become super successful, you know that they started out of your space. I actually have 3 already that graduated from our location.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's
Now they have their own office and they got Series A funding and all that.
Yeah.
And wow, you guys started with us, and
That's
you still
great.
kind of this connection with them
Yeah.
is really.
Have a success wall or something.
Yeah, all these. Yeah, we should put that out.
So tell me what's next. What's upcoming for you?
Oh yeah, so what's next is SphereTrack. This
SphereTrack.
is yeah, it's
Okay,
already
what's that?
actually live, but it's not 100% done.
Okay.
My experience with technology is push it live and get it out there. Don't wait,
Okay.
and see what kind of reaction you get from customers. SphereTrack is a mile tracking application and expense reporting. So for companies, they have a sales team on the road. They can live get their miles and their expenses. They take a picture. The receipt goes to human resources. They get the expense back.
That's
So it's
awesome.
all under brand Sphere. So this is where we're going with
That's
Sphere.
excellent.
Yeah.
I will say there was a time when I was expensing a lot and I never found a software that I
Oh,
liked.
there you go.
So, hey, this may
Yeah,
be
you may
it.
use us.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, tell us where to find you online and how to hook up with you.
Yeah, online, Twitter. I'm a main user of Twitter. I love
Okay.
it. It's at H, my first initial and my last name, which is Mirjan.
Okay.
At H Mirjan, and that's the only access. You can find me on Twitter, but publicly. But if you want to email me, it's my last name Mirjan at spheremail.co.
Okay, and then to find out about the co-working space to drop in, where's your website?
SpherePad.co. You won't miss it.
SpherePad.co.
Yes.
Okay.
Find me, call us, or Molly will help you, and we're hiring. So if you know anyone,
Excellent.
yeah, we're going through interviews right now.
That's a great way to come here and establish
absolutely.
yourself.
Yes,
So
definitely.
excellent. Thank you so much for
Oh,
having
thanks
us.
so much.
We so
I
appreciate
it. Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks a lot.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
please join us on outliermagazine.co and please click on Hassan's page and you will see the links and all the details to this interview.